And good afternoon, everyone. My name is Donald Overton. I'm the Executive Director of Blinded Veterans Association. We would like to welcome you to today's event, the OrCam MyEye presentation, and we are grateful to have you all joining us. We're also streaming the event to the bva.org homepage, so we're on Facebook as well as the homepage. On behalf of Blinded Veterans Association, our National Board of Directors, our membership, we just want to say to each and every one of you that served in the military, thank you for your service. Thank you for the sacrifices you made on behalf of our nation and on the world around us. As we approach Memorial Day coming up, we wish you all safety and security. We pay honor to the over 1 million men and women that sacrificed their lives in defense of this great nation and our global partners around the world. And it's a true honor and privilege to represent this organization and to be here with each of you today. So we just hope you're able to get out and pay honor on the upcoming Memorial Day. But today we're here to present technology that is truly life-changing technology. I am an OrCam MyEye user myself. I love the technology, as do so many of our members. So without further ado, I want to turn the platform over now to our really co-presenters, Bryan Wilinski of OrCam, as well as Kenneth Asam, our president of our California regional group. So gentlemen, please take it away.
Thank you so much, Don, and thanks, Ken, for joining me here. I just wanted to do a little intro. My name is Dr. Bryan Wolynski. I am a low vision optometrist in New York City, and I consult for OrCam Technologies. And I want to thank you, Don, and thank the BVA for having us here. And also thank you to all the veterans for their service, and thank you to all the families as well. OrCam and the BVA have been collaborating and working together to provide veterans with information on technology solutions and how to access that technology or those solutions, like the OrCam device, which we'll talk about today, which can be made available to people upon qualification through their VA. If you have any questions, you can reach out to the BVA or directly to OrCam, and I'll repeat this later on, but you can email OrCam at veterans, that's veterans with an S at the end, at OrCam, ORCAM.com, or on our website at OrCam, ORCAM.com. So this is our second live Facebook Live collaboration with the BVA, and we thank you all for having us back again this time. And last month I was on there and had a great discussion with Orlando Bembry, who's the Vice President of BVA in the state of Florida. And he really gave us some great information on use with the technology and how he uses OrCam, but he also reminded us all the importance of BVA membership as well. So I wanted to bring that up and thank you for membership, and also thank BVA again for this collaboration. So today again, we'll be discussing the OrCam MyEye device, which is a wearable assistive technology that was designed for people who are blind or visually impaired or have reading difficulties. But instead of just doing a demonstration and showing everybody how it works, what we wanted to do was really discuss the OrCam MyEye with the people that are using the device, such as, like Don mentioned, he was using it, and then we'll talk with Ken and his experience with the OrCam device, and also getting their stories and experience with the OrCam device, and highlight some great leaders in the BVA organization as well. So if you guys also have questions and you want us to cover anything specific, you can make comments in the comments section and we'll get to them today. I have someone monitoring for comments and we'll be able to get to them all, hopefully. I'll start with a short background of the company. OrCam Technologies is an Israeli company which was founded in 2010. Its founders were which were successful in another company that utilized computer vision technology called MyEye, which was used in collision detection in automobiles and now being used in autonomous driving. The OrCam company today now designs wearable and handheld personal AI assistive technology, and its flagship device is called the OrCam MyEye. It's a multifunctional device that attaches to any eyeglasses, which provides people with increased independence by giving access to reading, able to recognize people's friends and family, and gives someone the ability to shop independently. And it does a whole lot more, which we'll get into. But today I have Ken Asam. Thank you for joining me, Ken. But he's an extraordinary veteran who does a lot of volunteer work and is a real leader within this community and his community in Southern California. He is the president of the BVA of Southern California region. He also is on the chair of the Advisory Council Veterans Committee of Santa Clarita Valley Senior Center, where he created Coffee for Vets, which is a social group. He created a Veterans Health ID card to assist other veterans in being part of the VA. And it's a guide for people to understand that process. And he's also active in the VIST group at the downtown branch of the VA of the Greater Los Angeles Healthcare System. So Ken, thank you for being here. You stay awfully busy.
Well, it's my pleasure to be here.
Thanks so much. Why don't we get started and introduce yourself to everyone here, where you're from and where you are now.
My name is Kenneth Asam, and I was born in Detroit, Michigan. I grew up near Syracuse, New York, and then I started to travel. I have an associate's degree in hotel and restaurant management, and after obtaining that, I worked for a company called the Profit Company, and they were big in implant feeding and college feeding. And I worked in several General Motor plants feeding upwards of 2,000 people a day as assistant manager of those operations. And then I got the letter in the mail, and I had a week before my physical for the draft, and I interviewed with all the branches of service, and the Air Force was the most attractive to me. The Army said, well, you can be a pilot. Of course, this was the early days of Vietnam, and something in my abdomen said, you don't want that one. So I went, and the Air Force first said, when do you need to leave? And I said, in a week. And he said, well, we're booked out at least a month, but why don't you take the aptitude test anyway? I took the test and I aced it above 90 in all 4 categories. And he said, when can you leave? Somebody got bumped. So that's how I got into the Air Force. And then while I was being interviewed by the recruiter, he asked me what career, he said, if you want food service, you can have it, but we don't normally promise assignments, but you can have food service. And I said, if I have to start all over again, I want to start all over with something I do not know anything about, which turns out to be probably the second best statement I ever made in my life. The first being I do, because I've been married for over 51 years.
That's wonderful. And I know you have 2 daughters and 4 grandchildren, right?
Yeah, 2 daughters, 4 grandchildren, yes.
Wonderful.
I live in Southern California, which is the land of grandkids, although they're all over the country going to college and working now.
Well, you've been all over the world and all over the country.
Yes, I have. I've been in 47 states. I got 3 more to meet my bucket list. But anyway,
Go ahead.
Then when I went in and I was being assigned to a work duty when I was going through basic training at Lackland, they said, what do you want? You can have food service. And I said, no, I don't want food service. I want something that I don't know anything about, which got me into classified electronic intelligence. And for the first year I was in the service, I went to school. I learned a lot about electronics and then our specific mission and how to use the equipment. And then I was assigned, I went to Wakkanai, Japan for 15 months as a nice isolated assignment. Came back and they put me through instructor school to teach me how to teach, which turns out to be one of the more important things in my life, and one of the best things that happened to me while I was in the service. Was what I say when I was in the service, the first 3 years were completely different, one from the other. The fourth year was the price I paid for the first three.
No, and that
When I got out
definitely
of
came in
service,
handy for you.
excuse me?
That came in handy for you, as we'll talk about in a moment, about
Yeah,
that
when I
experience
got
of
out of
being a
service,
technical instructor.
yes, very important. Had a reaching effect. I never realized that that would have such an effect 50 some odd years later on my life. After I got out of the service, I couldn't imagine myself being a manager of a hotel stuck in one place. So had a resume that would emphasize computer application to the hotel industry. And I was hired by Ramada Inns as an internal auditor. And I traveled all over the United States, one doing audits. Then I worked on the acquisition committee. I did conversion of acquired hotels. And then I always got thrown into impossible situations and my head always came up straight. So one of them was a furniture factory that we acquired through the buying of a hotel, which was in Martinsville, Indiana. And I was sent there and uncovered a major embezzlement and ended up managing the place.
That's wonderful.
And I spent 10 years there. And then in my working career, I've had several different management positions, usually controller or vice president of operations, general manager.
But I know you were
in that process. There was two of them, Old Hickory being one, two companies that were on the verge of closing. I was able to keep alive for 10 more years after that. I worked for 10 more years afterwards. So I kept jobs on the market.
No, that's great.
And then I ended up retiring about 10 years ago. Physically retiring but I kept my job going for another 5 or 6 years. My goal was to work until I was 75, and I retired from that job, the jobs I was doing, and came out to California 10 years ago. So I was about 68 when I came out here. And then I lost the vision, had an occlusion in my left retina vein, and I had to stop doing the work because it required a lot of computer work and a lot of typing, and I kept hitting the wrong keys. And it just looked
Well, I don't think you let your vision loss stop you, because you're still helping others. You're taking leadership roles at the BVA and elsewhere and really helping out a lot of people. And I think it's what you talked about in that
part of the benefit of the OrCam
experience that you had, and really are coming forward. And even helping others learn about the OrCam device as well. But if I'm correct, you mentioned that when you came out to California, it was really to spend time with your grandkids. And then you told me, well, they all went away to college now. But I know you're keeping in touch with them with technology, Zoom calls like this and Facebook and everything.
Yeah, every avenue.
Right, and that's what you got to do. You got to try any technology you can. Now, you mentioned about your vision loss. I think it was a vein occlusion in one eye, right?
In the left eye, yes.
Okay, and then
the point is, for all practical purposes, I'm blind in the left eye. I have reduced vision in the right eye from macular degeneration.
Okay, and when you had the vision loss, how did you come to know about all the technology that you're using, and how did you come out to find about even the OrCam device at that time?
Well, it's kind of a long story there too. But I had avoided the VA prior to my eye problem because I just said, well, I did all that, and I heard all the horror stories, and I just said, well, I went through that in the service, although I had a good experience with the medical departments within the service, but I said, I just don't need that anymore, and so I avoided it, and I find a lot of people avoid it. At the senior center, I find a lot of veterans avoid going to the VA, and that's why I wrote the guide to getting your VA medical card.
No, my
So-
father had the same issues as well. He was out of the military a long time, didn't understand what benefits that he could get, and like you, didn't go to the VA. And when he did, he was pleasantly surprised. And they basically said to him, "Where have you been? Where have you been all these years?" So I'm sure they said the same to you, Ken. You know?
Well, I don't remember that specifically, but I gotta say, I have nothing but praise for the VA system since I've been going, and that's now for about 4.5 years.
No, that's great. And I think it's learning about how to navigate it and what to do, which is what you're helping people with. And
Yeah.
but who introduced you to the OrCam device? Was that at the VA or one of your friends?
Well, through the VA, I have a friend here that got me to go to the VA because he has a lot of the same problems I have, in some cases worse than I do. And he's been going there for well over 10 years. And he says, "You need to go to the VA." And so I came home and I registered online. It was really simple to do. I registered online, and then a couple of weeks later, I got a phone call, and a couple of weeks after that, I got the paperwork in the mail that I had to take down to get my card. The hardest part was the camera was broken at the VA Sepulveda, which is one of the branches here in LA, and it took me 2 or 3 months. They couldn't get the camera fixed. It took me 2 or 3 months to get the ID card, but I could carry the paper and I still got services. But it was ironic that was the part that was the hardest, was to get my picture taken.
Okay, but you got that done. And then from there, you know, you went through certain processes like with your VIST coordinator and things like that, right?
The same friend got me to go down. He goes to the VIST meetings at downtown LA. And so I started going with him. He got me into the group. And one of the first meetings I went to, OrCam, the regional manager, made a presentation. And I said, "Oh, that's my problem. I can't recognize people. I have trouble reading." I said, "She's nailing it right on the head." And the head of this group said, "If anybody's interested, give me a call and we'll set up a screening process for you." So a day later, I call them, and within a week, I was back down there, and they did the evaluation, and I qualified for the OrCam. And I think what really did is when I told her that I couldn't recognize my wife in the crowd.
Right. Now you can. And that's one of the features is facial recognition. But you're using OrCam now, and we'll talk in a sec about the training, but what are you using for it now? What are you mostly using OrCam for? What it helps you with?
I have read books with it, like 100-page books. You just go page by page by page, and it reads it to you. And I have read quite a few legal documents, both personal and we've been doing revising the bylaws for our region of the BVA. And I've had to read a lot of legal documents with that, and I use the OrCam for reading legal documents. I find the OrCam is extremely good at reading video screens, whether it's a tablet or whether it's the regular computer. And those are a lot of the things that I use it for. I want probably a more
well, you mentioned
unusual event related to that. I have, as a screensaver on my computer, a picture of my 4 grandkids, and the OrCam recognizes the kids and tells me who they are.
That's cool. That's great. And I know you've showed me sort of like where you have your little, like what you call your VA station there because of all the tools and technology that you've learned how to use. And one of those, of course, is OrCam, but OrCam is wearable, as all the other things mostly in that station that you have are fixed, right?
That's right. But I do have a VA workstation, without doubt.
I like it. But one of the things some people say is that because OrCam's portable, I don't need to be stuck at like my station. I can use it anywhere I go.
Oh, I wear it. It's on here. It's just like putting my glasses. It's part of my glasses, and it just stays on there. You know, and
Right. So
may
for
get to this.
people out there don't know what OrCam is, it's about the size of your finger, weighs less than an ounce, and has two
Yeah.
little magnets on the side that attaches to any pair of eyeglasses. And that's all that he has. And Ken has it on his
Oh,
right side of his glasses, but he also has, he came up with a little fishing wire that attaches to his glasses so it doesn't fall down. Oh, I heard it go on, right?
it's talking to me.
All right, good. And that's what it does. Takes a picture and then speaks back the information. So no matter what your vision is, whether you had, a stroke to the eye like Ken with vein occlusion or macular degeneration or diabetic retinopathy, no matter what level your vision is, OrCam is useful for you. So different than some other maybe devices where maybe if it's a magnification and it might not become useful over time, this stays useful over time.
Yes, and it's exceptionally portable. I mean, I don't even really realize, it doesn't weight my glasses down cockeyed or noticeably cockeyed. And it couldn't be more convenient.
Now, something that you mentioned also is earlier is when you first started with it, there were certain troubles or things that you had, but you were able to work through those. Do you want to tell everyone about that, sort of the training process that you went through, but once you found your way, I mean, then it became easier for you?
Yeah, I think you're referring to what I found. I had problems with the double tap, which you use to wake the OrCam up and from the rest position. And if you tap too hard, your finger doesn't have time enough to recoil to do the second tap in the time that it requires. So you got to learn how to do the tap rather than tap tap. So if you go too hard, it takes too long to make the double tap. So you have to go softer. And I found that even though the bar runs the whole length of the unit, you're better off trying to stay to the center of the bar and do a light tap 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 tap.
Right. So on the side of the device is a touchpad on how to control it. So the camera can either be set to an automatic, basically it automatically takes a picture, let's say for reading, automatically it'll start reading. A second way is a pointing gesture, which I'll show in a moment and explain to everyone. Or the other way, like Ken is saying, is tapping on the side. And there's either a single tap or a double tap that you need to do for different features. A double tap wakes it up, as Ken said. A double tap also goes into a mode for voice commands, and a single tap will take a picture and then start reading. But I know you were having trouble in the beginning, and then you kind of reached out to the company and got some help from our support.
Yes, I did. I got very good help from your support.
No, and that's important with any kind of device, is having that support. So there's customer service support that people can call. There are videos online, but there's actually something, Ken, that you did on your own from your background of you wrote your own, being a technical training instructor, you wrote your own lesson plan, basically like a training guide. And
what I did when I first got my OrCam, I tried to find documentation to learn how to use it. And this is going back several years ago, and OrCam's training information was rather sketchy. And you couldn't even find a list of the commands in one place or the settings in one place. So
well, as you said, it sounded like a textbook versus being like a guide, and I think you really helped with
a technical training outline or
correct.
Yeah. And so I wrote a training program for the OrCam, and that's how I learned the basics. That's how I learned the OrCam to start with, was having to find all the information, all the different settings, of which at that time was about 20, and finding out how to use them. And I mean, you couldn't even really find out how to get into settings, let alone do the settings. But we figured all that out, wrote a training program for the OrCam. I gave it to my bro at the VIST group downtown, and she distributed it throughout, I don't know how far, only later on weeks later, she said, your outline has become the training guide for the VA for the OrCam.
No, that's great to hear that you're helping others, and it helped you in your way to learn, how
Oh,
to
yeah.
use OrCam. And I think that's what it is. We all learn differently, and we all have to find a way to learn something. And now you're a pro at it. You mentioned that OrCam also, you're using it facial recognition and not just for reading. You mentioned that earlier today for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, there's, you use facial recognition, because I can see the silhouette of a person, and I'm also good at recognizing voices. But if they're more than about 2 or 3 feet away, I can't tell who's in front of me. And the OrCam will identify them if I've taken the time to put their picture and name into the OrCam.
Right. Now, all of OrCam's features, the main one is reading, then there's facial recognition, recognizes products, money, barcodes, and color. But one of the newest features, right, but one of the newest features you said you've been trying out lately is smart reading.
I've been working with smart reading quite a bit, which is really voice commands for, well, first of all, there's 3 methods of commands. One is pointing, which is quite effective. Another is that you can take a picture of a command, and they're called the please commands, and it will make the camera. That's how I originally got into the settings, was using please commands.
Right.
And then you got voice commands, pointing commands, and photo commands, picture commands.
Right. And then when it takes a picture in smart reading, all you got to do is ask the device what you want out of the text, and it tells it to you.
Right. You can read a whole page. You can read a portion of a page. You can read, you can ask for dates, and it'll read the appropriate sentence with the date in it. Or you can ask for a name, and it'll find it. Or you can say, find the 3rd paragraph. That's one command that hasn't particularly worked too well for me. The date command I've used and the name command I've used, and I've tried saying go to a specific paragraph, and that particular one.
Well, I know what most people like to do is also you could do menus, so finding a certain dish, and another, like say, find the desserts or find the chicken dish. Another one is newspapers, so you can just read the headlines, and then you can specifically ask for read the 2nd article, read the 3rd article, and just by talking to it.
Yes. And along with that, you bring up menus, which usually puts you in a dark space. The OrCam comes with its own headlight. There's 2 LED lights up here that if you're in a dark area and you're looking at a menu, it will light the menu up for you.
Right. So the light comes on because it is a camera taking a picture. So if I'm in a dark room, the camera can't see it, so the light will come on automatically. Definitely.
Yeah. And I think it's important when you say it takes a picture, it's important to point out that the OrCam is totally self-contained. It does not have any internet connection. So everything you take is secure, and you can't get the pictures out. If you take a picture of a person, they get concerned, oh, what are you going to do with it? Well, you can't get it out. It's there. That's it. Just for identifying you.
Correct. And it has to be a willing participant for you to put them in the system. So it's not going to the cloud. It's not going to the internet. It's secure. And not only secure, it's also dependable because you could take it anywhere and use it. You can use OrCam in the supermarket. You can use it, in the park, reading a book. So OrCam is dependable wherever you go. You never have to hook it into anything.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And, we're talking about supermarkets. It reads barcodes. So you can go in there and you can pick up a product, take a picture of the barcode, and it will tell you everything about that product.
What I wanted to do quickly, Ken, before we go on, is one, I want to ask people if they're listening, they can ask any questions. So if there are any questions, please put it in the comments. If you have any questions for Ken or myself, we'll be happy to answer. Also, again, if you wanted any information from OrCam, you can just email us at veterans@orcam.com, or even speak to someone at the BVA and they can let us know and get in touch with us. But what I wanted to do quickly also is just demonstrate quick reading. So I'm just going to describe how it works for reading a second. So Ken has his on the right side of his glasses. I'm putting on a pair of my glasses as well. And I'm going to take my OrCam
Waking up.
device.
Charge or
You can hear it.
disconnected. Battery is 100% charged.
So we're all hearing it
Battery is fully charged.
telling me that it's waking up, that it's charged. And I'm placing it just on the right side of my glasses. And it's just sitting there magnetically. And it just basically, as Ken said, doesn't feel like anything is there. It weighs less than an ounce. And all I need to do in order to read text, it's very simple to use. I just hold a book up about eye level. And again, I could go in one of three ways. I can either point at the text. I can either let it do it automatically, which I have off right now because I just didn't want it to shutter and take a picture. And or I can just tap on the side. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the pointing gesture. And the pointing gesture is like pointing like the number 1. So if I point forward with my finger, the camera sees my fingernail. I hear an audible beep, and then I'll remove my finger. I hear a shutter sound, and then it'll begin reading. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm holding a book up eye level, about 12, 13 inches in front of me.
+6.
I took a picture.
Rest of the country. But
And it's
crimes
reading.
of property and stranger crimes.
And then if I
like
wanted to
muggings
stop,
are lower.
I just put my whole hand out for it to stop. And then there's a third gesture where if I just look at my watch,
The time
my
is
wrist,
3:31 p.m.
it tells me the time.
Today is Tuesday, May 18th, 2021.
So I'm on the East Coast. I'm 3 hours ahead of you, Ken.
Yeah, I realize that.
Right. So that's how
I
simple it is to
think
use. That's how simple it is to use. Which way do you tend to read more of? Do you think pointing or tapping on the side, Ken?
Well, because I started out tapping, I probably still use the hand gestures the most, although I do like the voice commands and in smart reading. And I think over time that will even become more efficient. And
Right.
and I have used the voice command, the smart reading, quite a bit. So
I'm glad you're finding that helpful. And in the future, what I'm hoping you'll find helpful too is right now it's only in beta though, which is an orientation feature, which is going to be able to tell you, navigate you in a room, tell you where objects are, and maybe bring you to them. So we're hoping that that'll come out in the future. Right now, that's actually in beta testing.
although I do think it's available, the basic amount.
It's very basic, but I like to tell people it's in beta right now because it doesn't work perfect yet. The orientation feature doesn't. So I just like to mention that, but I'm hoping that that's a feature that people are going to like for the future, like they do with smart reading right now.
Yes. I do believe that will progress over time. OrCam's been pretty well known for keep adding to it.
Well, and that's the whole thing. Yeah, you can they can keep adding, and hopefully there's more. There's definitely more things in the works. They don't tell me everything because they know I'll talk too much. So there's over 200 engineers that are working in Israel on this device, and like I said, if I knew too much of what's going on, I'd talk too much. So they keep me out of that.
Okay. I'm sorry, I got interrupted here. Noise in the
Okay,
background.
Ken, this happens. This is why it's Facebook Live, and live things, normal life happens.
Yes, I think it's important to point out that the only time the OrCam connects to the internet is when you're at your home base, because that's the way you've set it up, and you have a charger on the device. It then will connect to the internet for the sole purpose of downloading updates.
Correct. So if there's like an update or a bug fix, it'll be automatically pushed into your device when you're home. Only when you plug it in and you're connected to Wi-Fi. And that is important. But again, it's not hooked into Wi-Fi in order for it to work.
That's right.
Right.
It doesn't require Wi-Fi, and that's part of the security of the unit.
Correct. And
it's pretty amazing the size of this. It does all these things, like on the barcodes, it has over 1,000 barcodes stored in there, plus you can add to it. You can put faces on there. It reads you can pick the language that it reads in, and it, because the OrCam worldwide.
Oh, yeah, no, there's tens of thousands of users worldwide.
All languages, something to that magnitude.
Yep, they're in over 50 countries and they have over 25 languages right now.
Yeah, it's huge.
Right. And I think it's also like we're talking about how, you know, the qualification process and you got OrCam. I think it's important that, you know, you had, you know, the vision loss that you've had is from, you know, aging eye changes from a vein occlusion to the eye and also macular degeneration. But this is for really any veteran if they have vision loss, whether it was years ago during active duty or later in life vision loss, correct?
Yes. And I'm later in life vision loss, and the VA still is taking care of me. And I think I've had just an excellent experience with the VA.
No, that's great. As I said before, my father as well, and it's been a very good experience for him and for many others. And I'm glad you're there to help people navigate that process as well.
But you know, the title of this session is "How Did It Impact My Life?" And the OrCam as an instrument is dynamic and very progressive and very useful. But to me, the OrCam is also a pipeline to reaching out and getting out again after you have an event and getting to meet people. I mean, the OrCam has gotten me involved with people.
Well, I think with all the work that you do.
I mean, I've gotten to know you, I've gotten to know Lena, I know the regional manager here, and
well, not just us, even at OrCam, but even with your work with the BVA, I think with other veterans.
Been very effective. I'm into the VA.
Right. I'm glad. I'm happy you are. So what is your recommendation for someone? What is your recommendation? What is your recommendation for someone? You know, let's say they just get OrCam. What are your like kind of tips?
Well, I'm just going to tell you that the secret to success with the OrCam is practice, practice, practice.
Right. That's how you get into Carnegie Hall, right?
What's that?
That's how you get into Carnegie Hall.
Yes. Practice, practice, practice. That's how you get into the OrCam world too.
You know, you mentioned before about the voice commands as well. What I wanted to do is maybe just do that one of those. Let's do it with smart reading. So I'm going to wake up my device again, and hopefully it hooks up to the speaker so everyone can hear. So I'm taking OrCam again and I'm putting it on my right side.
Audio device Superstar Hotshot connected. Bluetooth audio device Superstar Hotshot connected.
So what I did is it hooked up automatically to my Bluetooth speaker. The OrCam device speaks out of an internal speaker on the device itself near my ear, or I could hook it up to external Bluetooth speaker as everybody's hearing, or even just earbuds. So that way other people don't have to hear it, or I can put it to a lower volume. What I'm going to do is get into you were talking about that double tap. When you double tap on the device instead of single tap, it goes into it's listening for a command. So I'm going to command it to go into the smart reading mode. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hold up a newspaper. I'm going to double tap. It's going to ask, it's not going to ask me, but you're going to hear a long beep, and I'm just going to say smart reading. After I say smart reading, it's going to take a photo, and then I'm going to ask OrCam what I want from it. So let's just do that. I got the newspaper up in front of me, about eye level, about 12 inches in front of me. I'm going to double tap on the device. Smart reading.
Note that there may be more text below. Ready.
Read the headlines.
No headlines found.
Of course, right? This is Facebook Live, real life. So let's try one more time. Hold on.
I think you have to give it a command after you tap it. You have to say read all or read something.
It's listening to you now, Ken. Let's do restart.
Did you mean read article number 10?
Restart.
Note that there may be more text below. Ready.
Read the headlines.
No headlines found.
Of course, no headlines found, right?
I am listening.
Exit.
Exiting.
Let me do, I don't know why I'm not getting the headlines on there. I'll try again in a moment, but let me do face recognition. Facial recognition goes by either automatic or I can just do it manually. Right now I'm doing it manually because I didn't want it seeing my screen and constantly saying my name out loud. So I'm just going to take a picture of my face here and it should say who I am. Dr. Bryan.
This is magic. He done to improve the lives is incredible. Thanks. Happen. #OrCam.dream tier.
So it's reading everything behind me. There's a poster of Leo Messi, who is a sort of global ambassador for OrCam, and there's a poster behind me. So it's reading that behind me, but it did get my face for facial recognition. And it does recognize up to 100 faces.
Would you have to teach it?
Yes, you have to teach it. You put it in the system. It takes how long, Ken, about to teach it somebody?
Oh, less than 30 seconds.
Exactly. And it's a very simple procedure to do.
Take the picture and then you have to give the name and that's it. And then it'll repeat it back to you and you're set.
Right. I'm just going to check in and see if we have any questions out there. If anyone has any questions, again, they can put it in the comments section or they can email OrCam at veterans@orcam.com. And no, I don't see any questions at this moment. But what else do you have anything else to add, Ken?
That covers a lot of things.
Process. I know you received the OrCam initially in March of 2019.
No, I think it's back further than that.
Back further than that?
That's right. That's March of 19, yes.
Yeah, March of 19 is when you first received it.
Yes.
Right. And then how long was the process, I guess, of receiving the OrCam device? Like once you were
From the time it was ordered until I got it?
Yeah.
It was pushing 3 months.
Okay. All right. So there was a bit of a process, but you had to go through that qualification process, correct?
Yes. But you had to go down. Yeah, I had to go have the interview and then they had to order it. And then it took time to get here. It came through a distributor. I was going to point to it. It came through a distributor, which OrCam assigned it to a distributor here in LA. They sent a rep out. The rep was exceptional. She was totally blind. She had a seeing-eye dog and a driver. And she came out and she sat at the table and taught. I had my son-in-law here technically involved as well, and my wife and I, and she taught me how to use the OrCam and used her phone to look things up, and not that she could see it, but it would talk to her and tell her things and tell me things, and she just did an exceptional job.
No, that sounds great. So Ken, I think we're gonna close all this, and hopefully I know people are going to be watching this later because it is placed on the BVA Facebook site. And I'm sure we'll have some questions later on.
I do have a summary that I would like from my training document to kind of read through for you, if you don't mind.
Sure, go right ahead.
Okay, this is about the OrCam, and it's a convenient size, convenient weight. It has a convenient touch bar, convenient you're independent. You're wireless, convenient location on the side of your glasses, convenient portable, you can go anywhere with it. Convenient recognition of many different things. Convenient reading, convenient orientation, and a convenient built-in lights. In summary, Wi-Fi Oh, and convenient Wi-Fi updates. The OrCam's convenience is its signature that exemplifies the successful implementation of artificial intelligence.
I like that part at the end. Thanks, Ken.
You're entirely welcome, Brian.
It's a great summary too. No, and thank you also for being here and sharing your story and sharing everything with us. And thank you for your service and everyone else out there as well and their families.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think hopefully we can all do this again. And Ken, I look forward to talking with you some more in the future as well. I know we'll be in touch.
Yes, and if I ever get to New York City, I'm gonna hit you up for the bagels and cream cheese.
You got it. You got it. And Don, we'll see you here too. Thank you all. Thank you, Don. Thank you to the BVA. Take care, everyone.
Have a good day.